Ladies and gentlemen, champions of destiny, let me ask you one powerful question. Are you living by design or are you living by default? Because the truth is, your life will never rise higher than your daily habits. You don't get what you want. You get what you work on consistently, intentionally, relentlessly. You don't get what you want. You get what you work on consistently, intentionally, relentlessly. Wanting is easy. Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to be wealthy. Everyone wants freedom, peace, love, and purpose. But desire without discipline is a fantasy. The world isn't moved by wishful thinkers. It's changed by action takers. And until you move from intention to execution, your vision is nothing more than a dream slowly fading into regret. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, one day I'll get there? How many times have you said, tomorrow I'll start? But tomorrow is a liar. It whispers comfort while stealing your calling. Every time you postpone the work, you reinforce the lie that comfort is more valuable than calling, that convenience is more important than your contribution. But deep down, you know that's not true. You feel it every night you go to sleep with potential unexpressed and purpose untouched. We live in a culture addicted to shortcuts, hacks, and 5-minute formulas. But success is a slow cooker, not a microwave. You don't stumble into greatness. You build it brick by brick in the dark when no one is watching. The winners aren't always the most talented. They're the most consistent, the most faithful, the ones who showed up on the days they didn't feel like it, the ones who chose discipline over dopamine, the ones who traded comfort for calling. It's not the grand gesture once a year that shapes your life. It's the small daily decision you make when no one is clapping as it helps us. No one is posting about you and no one sees the cost. It's waking up early to learn when you'd rather sleep. It's saying no to distractions when your flesh craves them. It's pushing through resistance when your emotions scream, give up. You don't get what you want. You get what you show up for, over and over and over again. Desire without direction leads to frustration. Vision without execution leads to delusion. And talent without work leads to waste. The truth is, your life is always moving in the direction of your most consistent behaviors. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to be the best. But you must be persistent. You must be grounded in the belief that your daily choices shape your destiny more than your biggest dreams ever could. You can't wait for inspiration to strike. You create it in the process. You build momentum by moving your feet, not by waiting for lightning to strike. The path doesn't reveal itself to the hesitant. It opens up to the committed. You've got to build the kind of rhythm in your life where success is not an occasional burst of effort, but the natural result of disciplined living. It's not sexy, it's not flashy, but it's the truth. There is a war inside you every day between the version of you that wants to stay safe and the version of you that was born to lead, to build, to impact. And the version you feed will be the one that grows. That's why you can't just work hard once in a while. You must build a habit of honoring your future self with present-day discipline as it helps us. The real test isn't when things are going well. It's when everything inside you wants to quit, but you choose to keep going anyway. It's not about motivation. It's about decision, daily decision. Because eventually, life doesn't pay you for what you intended to do. It pays you for what you've built, for what you've endured, for what you've become through the process. You don't get what you want. You get what you work on consistently, intentionally, relentlessly. And when you start living like that, everything begins to shift. Most people spend their lives narrating their limitations. They talk about what's not working, what's broken, what's missing. They speak their fears louder than their faith and wonder why nothing changes. But the truth is this: your words are not just commentary, they are construction. Every time you speak, you are either building a bridge to your future or a cage that keeps you locked in your past. What you say shapes what you see, and what you see influences what you believe. That's why you must stop describing where you are and start declaring where you're going. There is a power in your mouth that can rewrite the story of your life. But too often, we waste that power repeating the same scripts that keep us small. I'm stuck. I'm not good enough. I can't afford that. These aren't harmless words. They're binding agreements. Agreements with fear, with lack, with mediocrity. And as long as you keep speaking them, you give them life. What you verbalize, you authorize. So if you keep telling the world you're broken, or behind, don't be surprised when your life continues to reflect it. But there is another way, a better way. You can speak not from your current condition, but from your covenant. You were not created to merely survive. You were made to reign, to create, to lead. Your words must rise to the level of your destiny, not fall to the level of your discomfort. Every day, you must choose to declare what you want, not describe what you fear. And it won't always feel natural. It will feel strange at first, like you're lying to yourself. But you're not lying. You're leading yourself out of the wilderness and into promise. When you declare your destiny, you're not ignoring your reality. You're deciding it doesn't have the final say. You're not denying the storm. You're choosing not to drown in it. You're calling forth what is not yet seen as though it already is. That's what faith sounds like. Faith is not silent. Faith speaks. It speaks boldly. It speaks consistently. It speaks even when the evidence hasn't shown up yet. Faith makes a declaration, not an observation. This is where transformation begins. Not in your hands, but in your mouth. You can hustle all day, but if your words betray your vision, you will always fall short. You can't outwork a mindset that's constantly cursing your progress. Every time you open your mouth, you're either planting seeds or sowing weeds. And if all you're doing is talking about what's wrong, you're watering the very thing you say you want to escape. It's not just about changing your vocabulary. It's about changing your identity through language. The world listens to what you speak, but more importantly, you do. Your subconscious is always tuning in, and it doesn't filter sarcasm or self-deprecation. It takes everything you say as truth. So when you declare, I am powerful, even before you feel it, you're training your spirit to believe. When you say, my future is blessed, even when your bank account is empty, you're laying a foundation that cannot be seen, but will soon be felt. The atmosphere of your life will always rise or fall to the level of your language. You've been given the power to speak life. So why keep speaking death? You are not just reporting on your life. You are writing it with every sentence you choose. You are not a reporter, you are the author. Stop giving so much airtime to your fears. Stop repeating the language of the problem. You've got to stop making declarations of defeat and start making proclamations of purpose. You're not waiting on a breakthrough. Your breakthrough is waiting on you to speak it. You may not be able to control everything in your life, but you can control your confession. You can decide that from this day forward, your mouth will be aligned with your mission, not your misery. Speak what's coming, not just what's currently happening. Speak what's possible, not just what's painful, Because the truth is, your future is voice activated. And the words you choose today will echo into the life you live tomorrow. Most people wait for the feeling to move before they move. They wait for motivation. They wait to feel inspired. They wait until it's convenient, until it's easy, until it feels right. But the truth is, the life you were created to live won't wait on your feelings. Feelings are fickle. They shift like the wind. If your progress is tied to your mood, your destiny will always be held hostage by your emotions. The people who rise, the ones who build legacy, are the ones who've learned to act in alignment with purpose, even when passion feels absent. There is something sacred about doing the work when no one sees it. It's in the quiet corners of discipline that greatness is forged. Not in the applause, not in the spotlight, but in the uncelebrated moments where you choose what's right over what's easy. That's where kings are crowned, long before the world ever sees the crown. You don't become powerful in public until you've conquered yourself in private. The hours you grind in silence are what build the voice you carry in the world. Sacrifice is not glamorous. It's not always inspiring. Sometimes it feels like pain without reward, like sowing seeds in soil that refuses to show signs of life. But trust this, every sacrifice carries a return. Every discipline deposits destiny into your future. The question is not, will it work? The question is, will you? Will you keep showing up when the results are invisible? Will you keep pushing when no one is clapping? Will you choose the heavy load of discipline over the heavier weight of regret? The difference between most people and the ones who transform the world isn't talent. It's tolerance. Tolerance for discomfort. Tolerance for resistance. Tolerance for delayed gratification. Everyone wants the mountaintop, but very few are willing to climb. Everyone wants the crown, but few are willing to bleed for it. And that's the gap. The world is not shaped by dreamers. It's shaped by doers. And most of the doing happens when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when everything in you says, take the easy way out. It's easy to be disciplined when motivation is high, when the sun is shining, when your inbox is full of praise. But can you still press forward when the room is silent? When the validation is gone? When the work is hard and the rewards are distant? That's the true test, not of your ability, but of your character. What you do when no one's watching is what determines who you become when everyone's looking. The unseen grind is what earns the seen glory. Greatness demands a higher threshold for pain, not physical pain, but emotional resistance. The pain of showing up tired, the pain of being misunderstood, the pain of working harder than others and still not seeing instant results, the pain of giving your all with no guarantees. That kind of pain doesn't break champions. It builds them. It cuts off weakness and reveals the strength that was always inside you, waiting to be forged through fire. Every time you do the hard thing, especially when you don't feel like it, you're not just building a habit, you're becoming someone new. You're proving to yourself that your vision is more powerful than your emotions. You're rewriting your identity as someone who leads, someone who finishes, someone who doesn't fold when the pressure hits. And eventually, that version of you becomes the default. Discipline becomes your language. Follow through becomes your brand. Integrity becomes your reflex. Most people talk about what they want. Few are willing to sacrifice for it. The gap between desire and destiny is discipline. You have to choose the grind over the excuse, the mission over the mood, the calling over the comfort. Because in the end, the crown never goes to the most excited. It goes to the most committed. And commitment is proven not when it's easy, But when everything in you wants to stop and you keep going anyway, there is something inside you that already knows the truth. You were not made for average. You weren't designed to simply exist, clock in, survive another week, and wait for something magical to happen. You were created for more purpose, more impact, more meaning. And yet, so many people spend their lives shrinking to fit expectations, playing small so they won't make others uncomfortable, settling for comfort zones that slowly become cages. They call it stability, but deep down it feels like suffocation because something inside them is still awake, whispering that this isn't all there is. It's not arrogance to believe you're meant for more. It's alignment. You weren't born with a vision just to ignore it. You weren't given dreams just to doubt them. That at you feel when you know you're not living up to your potential. That's the evidence. That's the proof that more is calling you. It's not a fantasy. It's a reminder. A reminder of what you've buried under fear, distraction, and delay. And the longer you pretend it doesn't matter, the louder the regret becomes. Because your soul knows what it was made for, even when your habits don't reflect it. Every time you lower your standard to fit in, a piece of you shrinks. Every time you silence your voice to be accepted, your future dims. You weren't made to blend, you were made to blaze. But you can't like you were created for more while acting like you were made for less. Your language, your habits, your associations, all of it has to rise to meet your purpose. You can't keep walking in circles and call it progress. You can't keep repeating yesterday and expect tomorrow to change. The version of you that was born to build something powerful is waiting, but it won't wait forever. There is no one coming to rescue your potential. There is no savior for your motivation. You must become the hero of your own story. You have to wake up every day and decide that playing it safe is more dangerous than taking the risk, as helps us. You have to believe that the pain of staying stuck will always cost more than the fear of trying something bold. The people you admire didn't get there by luck. They got there because they stopped negotiating with their old self. They drew a line and said, never again. I was made for more. You can't keep showing up like life owes you something and wonder why you feel powerless. Life doesn't respond to entitlement. It responds to ownership. The moment you take responsibility for your life is the moment your life begins to transform. You were created to influence, to lead, to impact. But you can't lead others until you learn to lead yourself. That means honoring your word, sharpening your mind, guarding your time, and refusing to settle for anything that insults your purpose. You weren't designed to merely get by. You were meant to rise. There is gold in you that hasn't been mined yet. Talent you haven't tapped into, ideas you've buried. Strength you haven't seen because you've been too busy surviving to step into your calling. But that ends when you decide it does. The door to more isn't locked. It's just waiting on your decision. The gap between where you are and where you were born to be isn't ability, it's alignment. When your choices start matching your calling, the shift begins. The world won't hand you the life you want. You have to build it with the tools you've had all along. Stop talking yourself out of the future that was written for you. Stop dimming your light because others are uncomfortable in your shine. Stop labeling your limits as personality traits. You are not just the quiet one, or just not good at that, or just not lucky. You are more than the labels you've repeated, as it helps us. You are more than the mistakes you've made. And you are certainly more than the life you've been tolerating. There is a roar inside you waiting to be unleashed. But you've got to stop whispering when you were born to speak thunder. You were created for more. Not more possessions, but more purpose. Not more noise, but more impact. Not more comfort, but more meaning. And it doesn't begin when everything's perfect, as it helps us. It begins when you decide you've had enough of the shallow end and you're ready to step into the deep. When you stop apologizing for wanting to grow. When you stop asking permission to rise. When you look yourself in the mirror, not with shame, but with clarity, and say, this isn't all I was made for. IU setting, the 5 expand it and don't add any ending sentence and make it lengthy in 8 paragraphs without heading and conclusion. ChatGPT setting, certainly. Here's an emotionally charged and fully expanded version of Keynote A5. Don't just chase success. Become the kind of person success is attracted to. Written in 8 immersive paragraphs without headings or a conclusion. As requested, most people are sprinting after success like it's running away from them. They're chasing money, chasing influence, chasing recognition, thinking that if they just run hard enough, fast enough, long enough, they'll finally catch it. But success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become. You don't rise by scrambling to reach more. You rise by transforming into more. Because the truth is, you can't sustain on the outside what you haven't built on the inside. External victories will always collapse if they're not supported by internal values. You can fool the crowd for a while. You can post, perform, and pretend, but real success, lasting success, is built on character, not charisma. It flows from integrity, not intensity, from self-mastery, not self-promotion. You can get attention by being loud, but you earn influence by being solid. Success doesn't stick to the person who simply wants to look powerful. It sticks to the one who has become powerful in silence, through struggle, through choosing growth, when no one's watching and no one's clapping. So many people think success is about tactics, techniques, and timing. But before you master strategy, you've got to master self. Success is not just the result of what you do. It's the reflection of who you are. You attract the level of opportunities and relationships and breakthroughs that match your identity. If your inner world is chaotic, fearful, and reactive, it doesn't matter how good your game plan is. Eventually, your life will mirror your mindset. That's why transformation has to start from within. Becoming the kind of person success is attracted to means doing the deep work, the healing, the discipline, the mindset shift. It means telling yourself the truth even when it hurts. It means breaking agreements with excuses, with blame, with victimhood. You can't fake the foundation. You've got to build it with consistency, humility, and intentional growth. Not for applause, not for image, but because your future deserves a version of you that can carry it, not collapse under it. You must become a person of weight, not physical weight, but presence. People of substance don't chase, they attract. They walk into rooms, things shift because of who they become, not because of who they pretend to be. And that presence is built in obscurity and discipline, in long nights of refinement. It's not built in the comment section or the spotlight. It's built when you choose to do the right thing when no one else knows about it. When you show up fully, even when life isn't giving you what you think you deserve. Success is a mirror, not a magnet. It reflects your beliefs, your habits, your patience, and your persistence. It's not just showing up one time with excitement. It's showing up daily with commitment. It's about how you treat people when they can do nothing for you. It's how you handle failure, how you carry pressure, how you speak about yourself when no one is around to encourage you. That's the soil where real prosperity grows. And if you neglect that soil, no amount of external fertilizer will make the tree stand strong. Don't confuse motion with maturity. Don't mistake energy for elevation. You can grind all day and still be the same person if you don't choose to evolve. The real win is becoming someone whose mindset, habits, and heart are aligned with purpose. Because when you become, success becomes a byproduct, not a burden. It begins to find you because it recognizes you. It senses that your roots are deep enough to hold what it's about to pour out. It sees that you're not chasing from lack, but standing from abundance. The ones who go the furthest aren't with looking successful. They're committed to becoming worthy of the success they desire. They know that chasing will exhaust you, but becoming will elevate you as it helps us. They've learned that external change without internal transformation will always lead to collapse. And so they choose the deeper path, the one that doesn't always get noticed at first, but always produces fruit that lasts. Because when you stop striving to impress and start striving to grow, that's when everything begins to shift.